Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Larry Parks Show. I'm Larry Parks, and this is the extreme consumer advocacy show, how ordinary people get ripped off by the system. And what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to talk again about why gold stocks have underperformed the price of gold. This is something that I've spoken about in the past, but I have some new information, and I want to do a more careful job today. Let's go to the first slide, please. Those of you who've been watching this show know this has to do with the monetary system in the United States. This is the total debt that we have now, book debt. It's now north of $47 trillion. This debt can never be repaid, and it's now at the point where we're getting defaults. So a lot of it can't even be serviced. Go to the next slide, please. And the way these defaults are being handled is that the banking system, not the government, the banking system, the Federal Reserve and commercial banks are creating money out of nothing in order to paper over the defaults. And today, the money supply in the United States is roughly $12.5 trillion. And in foreign countries also, they're creating money out of nothing. Let's go to the next slide, please. And when you create money out of nothing, it leads to what they call inflation. In effect, the money is becoming depreciated. And this slide shows the increase in prices in food up until around 2007. But let me tell you, folks, this is nothing, because just recently the price of wheat has gone from something like $4 a barrel to over $4 a bushel to over $20 a bushel. And so you're going to see inflation in everything that's made from wheat. Pasta, bread, but also all of the grains that get fed to meat. You can see tremendous increases in the price of meat. Go to the next slide, please. And this slide shows the increase in prices in electricity, nothing to do with wheat. As you can see, these prices are increasing as well. And next slide, please. This shows the increase in the price level in the United States in general, and that little line down the middle, that was 1933 when Franklin Roosevelt seized the gold in the nation. But after Richard Nixon cut the last tie to gold, which was on August 15th, 1971, the price level in the United States took off. Come back to me, please. So a question you might ask yourselves, where is all this leading to? And where it's leading to is the complete destruction of the dollar, loss of pensions, loss of savings, loss of annuities, complete collapse of the Social Security system. This is what's in the cards. And to give you a foretaste for what this looks like, go to the next slide, please. Again, those of you who've been watching this program have seen this before. The slide on the left is a street scene in Hungary in the 1930s. And that stuff that the street sweeper is sweeping into the sewer is the Hungarian money. So those people standing around, they might have been saving that money just like you folks are saving your $100 bills or $50 bills or $20 bills or your IRA or your Keogh plan or whatever, and here it's just getting swept into the sewer. The right-hand picture, this is a scene from Germany in the 1920s, and here this woman is taking the German money and she's feeding it into the furnace for heat. And so here the BTU value of the paper money is more valuable than the nominal value. Come back to me, please. Well, how best to protect yourself knowing that the dollar continues to depreciate? And you see this all around you, and unless you live in a cave, in the last few years you've seen double-digit increases in so many different things, including real estate, insurance, taxes, and the taxes just getting started. Well, the best way to protect yourself historically for 5,000 years has been with gold. Go to the next slide, please. And this is a picture of U.S. gold eagles. These are produced by the United States Mint. This is your best way to be assured that if you buy gold, you're not going to get counterfeits. And again, gold is the best way, the most efficient way to protect your wealth. Go to the next slide, please. And just as an example, in my lifetime, the Argentinian peso has collapsed 5 times. And you can see against gold, those people who had gold were able to protect your wealth. Come back to me, please. In the United States, gold has been dumped on. And we've done programs about why the establishment and others don't want you to buy gold. Essentially, the answer is if you buy gold, the fees that the Wall Street guys have come to an end. So if your IRA, your pension, your savings are in physical gold money, gold coins or whatnot, there's no fees to Wall Street. And today, worldwide, there's over $66 trillion under professional management, generating north of $500 billion $500 billion a year in fees, and they want to protect that. And the way to protect that is so you don't buy gold. In fact, they've told you many, many times, even today, if you call your broker, they'll tell you that gold is a bubble and whatnot. They don't want you to buy it. But what has happened to the price of gold over the last 5 years? Let's go to the next slide, please. And just before roughly 2001, this slide starts in February of 2003, gold hit a low of something like $250 an ounce. It closed today at $970 an ounce. I mean, what's wrong with that? Go to the next slide, please. And in fact, all over the world, the paper ticket, the irredeemable paper ticket money is coming under attack, and this shows the increase in the price of gold against various currencies around the planet, and you can see it's increased, and this is as of 2007. It's up to 53% now against the dollar starting in January 1st, 2007. But just for the year 2007, it was up 32% in dollars, 30% in pounds, 23% in South African rand, 25% in yen, 23% against the Chinese money, 23% against the franc, and so on. Come back to me, please. So all around the world, people are losing faith in the irredeemable paper ticket money. What Wall Street would like you to believe is that if you buy stocks, that somehow you're protected against inflation. Well, that is not the case, and I'm going to run through the next few slides very quickly. Go to the next slide, please. This shows the performance of gold versus the S&P 500. The top line is gold, and as you can see, since January 2001, gold has done much better than United States stocks. Go to the next slide, please. And this shows the same relationship between gold and Japanese stocks. And you see gold has done better than equities in Japan. Go to the next slide, please. And here you see the relationship between gold and German stocks. And here it's beat German stocks as well. Go to the next slide, please. And here you see the relationship between gold and stocks in the United Kingdom and England. And here you see gold has outperformed there as well. And go to the next slide, please. And here you see gold versus equities in France. And gold has outperformed French equities as well. Come back to me, please. But there's one set of equities that we would expect to outperform gold, which has not, and those are the gold stocks. And the reason why we expect the gold stocks to outperform the metal is because when you buy a gold stock, so they tell you, is that you get leverage because you have an unexpiring option on gold in the ground. Well, with a couple of exceptions, the exceptions being stocks like Agnico, Gold Corp, but certainly not hardly any of the junior stocks, of which there are about 1,500. Gold has outperformed the equities. Go to the next slide, please. And here's a slide starting in January 1st, 2007 to yesterday. And here you see over that period, gold is up 53%. The Amex Gold Bugs, these are stocks traded that are unhedged. It's an index on the American Stock Exchange. It's up 50%, slightly underperforming gold. The Oppenheimer Gold Fund, including dividends and disbursements, is up 47%, again, slightly underperforming gold. But the Philadelphia Gold Index, only up 44%. Fidelity is only up 43%. The Gabelli Gold Fund, it's a closed-end fund, only up 35%. The Tocqueville Gold Fund, only up 32%. Newmont Mining, one of the very largest gold mining companies in the world, only up 17%. Tanzanian Royalty, only up 5%, and Royal Gold has actually lost money, while gold is up 53%. Come back to me, please. Well, how to explain this divergence between the price of gold and the stocks? Well, let's just take a look for a moment against the performance of gold versus these stocks over time so you can see what's happening. Go to the next slide, please. This shows one slide back, please. This shows the performance of gold versus the Vanguard Precious Metals Fund. The top red line is gold. The bottom blue line is the Vanguard Precious Metals Fund. And as you can see, roughly around December, the mutual fund fell off a cliff, but gold kept going up. Go to the next slide, please. Same thing with the Tocqueville Fund. The performance of the gold fund started to fall down, but the gold price kept going up. Go to the next slide, please.